Right, students, let's continue with the content area on your boutique site. The next div or container that we were going to deal with was called hashtag promotion. And this is the little strip beneath that content area that had an article left div and an article right div. And what we're basically going to do is put 3 rollover buttons in here. And I'll give you a little hint of what that's going to look like. So what you'll need to do, and I'll give you the sizes in a moment, but you're going to basically have to create 6 images. 3 that look something like this, basically cropped. They can be circles. They could be radial corners. You can do whatever you want with the shape of them. The size needs to be relatively small to fit into this container. This container is called promotion, hashtag promotion. I changed some things that I'll show you in just a moment. I'm going to show you the code first, then we're going to go back and build this. But this is the idea. Let me show this in a, let me zoom out for a moment. I'll show you in a browser because this is what the rollover is going to do. So when you make your images for this, use text on the second one. Like this one's just called thumbnail 1, thumbnail 2, thumbnail 3. Actually, I called it thumbnail 1A. Then this is thumbnail 1B. That's the rollover state, the hover state. Thumbnail 2A and then 2B, 2A, 2B, thumbnail 3A, 3B, 3A, 3B. Does that make sense? The thing about rollover images, they need to be exactly the same size because they're just going to swap out one image to the other. And I'll show you again how to do that. I think we did that in the last project. Maybe not. Maybe I demonstrated, but we didn't make one. So we're going to just build this in this particular video, okay? And I'll save the footer for later and maybe even next week. The footer will be easy. You've done a couple of those already. All right, so let me get out of the browser. And by the way, these are going to link to, here's how to find us. It's going to link to About, the About page. This little button's going to link to the store. And this little button's going to link to our contact page. So think about that as you do these 3 rollovers. They are going to link to something. All right, back to the code. Now I have created, just to get ahead, I created my index 4. You guys, I'll keep reminding you, you're working on one file, index.html. I'm numbering mine so I can go back. I can do it ahead of time and then go back and start over to work with you guys. Dealing with this, let's go back to the code. And I really didn't do anything since our last video other than this right here. There's some in the source code, and this is the CSS. The width of this div, this yellow div for me, is 1,000 pixels. The height I set to auto. I think at one time it was 250 or something. I just ended up setting it to auto. You can wait a moment on that, okay? I have a background color. You're going to have your background color, or you can have an image or whatever. Mine is this kind of yellow ochre at 88% opacity. I did add this text align center, so you guys are going to add that on yours as well when we create this together. And I think the margins were already there. And the margins, by the way, are on the outside of the box. So the margin is pushing this away 35 pixels away from the top and 35 from the bottom. And then auto is right and left, which means it's just centered. This text align center is just so the thumbnails that we put in here will actually align in the center of that div. And then I wanted to add padding between them. I wanted to separate them. So what I did is I drew this, I wrote this, and I'll explain this as we create it together. And what I did is promotion space IMG. That means all images inside this promotion container is going to have this property. The margin is 30 pixels, so it's going to push its way away. It's going to have 30 pixels of boundary on every side, kind of like padding, but it's a little different. It's on the outside. The reason we had to use margin instead of padding, so I put padding, then this border wraps around the padding on the outside. So you've kind of got an image, then you got 30 pixels of space, and then a border. So it looks wonky. We don't want that. Then I made a border like we've done before. It needs 3 properties. You've got to have the color, the width, and then the style. And I just said black, 4 pixels solid. You can do that as well. You can certainly change that color whenever you want to. But just to block it in, you might want to do this. And also, just to really lift it off the page a little bit, I put a box shadow. And that's just a shadow behind each one of these images. So this means this is treating all of these images are having these 3 properties affected. The margin, the border, and then a black box shadow, which I made black 000. Then I made it 44% as far as opacity. You can see that nice little, not too stark, but it lifts it off the page a little bit. All right, let's go back to where we left off, which basically is this. You guys had have created this space. You're going to be able to decorate it with your content and just be brave and do some things that you want to do to it. So let's begin over. I made this property, this promotions thing. Let's go ahead and enter our hover or rollover images. We have 3 images. You've got to make those first. If you haven't made those, then take the time to go to Photoshop and make those. And the size of them, they're probably not more than 200 pixels in either width, okay? At 72 ppi, no more than 200 pixels in width. It could be smaller, a little larger. I wouldn't get too much larger, but just know that. And I already made those, so I'm a step ahead. So just pause it and make yours, put them in your images folder, and then come back if you're not ready. Okay, so if you're ready to insert your photos, we're going to go to the source code, not the style sheet, but the source code. And right here in this promotion where it says div ID equals promotion, right there before the div closes, we're going to insert. Then we go up to the top and you're going to say insert. We're not going to say image, but we're going to say insert, and it's way down here under HTML rollover. Way down there. It says rollover images. And we're going to do this 3 different times, okay, because we've got 3 different images. So think about, as you make your rollover image, your hover before and then make another version with text over it. Let it let it make sense to where it's going to go, okay? So think about your boutique. If it's called gallery, if it's store, whatever those subpages are. You can come back and change those later if you need to, but it'd be great if you didn't have to. It would be. So let those links be general enough to go to your pages. All right, so you get this little window that pops up. I clicked on that insert HTML, and I went down here to rollover image. This window popped up, insert rollover image, and it names it. Just leave that alone, okay? You can get in trouble if these multiples have the same name, so just numbers it by itself. So you're going to get the first image and then the second image. And my first image, like I said, I've already created. It's in my images folder. I'm going to browse. I'm going to come down here, and I think it's called Pickles. It looks just like this. This is the before state, and this is the after state. And by the way, if you can see the dimensions, my dimensions here is 216 by 144. You're welcome to use those dimensions or something like that. I said not go over 200. Well, apparently I went a little wider than 200. It doesn't matter. And if you want to make these circles, then just make sure you go to Photoshop and you make a PNG that has a clear background, okay? And you can have circles all day long. Or you can actually use the border radius and make circles. All right, the point being is I need this first one here. So I'm going to double click on there, and it inserted it right here as the original image, and then this is the rollover image. I'll browse, and I called mine Pickles one small. Okay. Double click there, and this is the rollover state. While we're here, this is kind of important, so don't miss this. Leave everything as it is, but when it says when click, go to URL, well, we really haven't created those links yet. So this one is actually going to the, I think that was the one that said the store. So I'm going to say store.html. If I get them mixed up later, I'll change it, but hopefully that's right. What it's going to do when you make a rollover image, now my rollover image is put up here. I haven't put text align center yet, so it threw it to the top left. That's fine. It's still going to roll over. It won't roll over in live view. It won't roll over until I see it in a browser. So let's assume it's going to work for the moment. But it adds a chunk of code. Look up here in your source code. Up here in the head, it added this big, giant script. You just have to not be fearful of it, okay? But right here, this script, it says function. It's a chunk of code right up to all the way up to here, this JavaScript. I'm going to move it down a little bit just to get it out of the way from my Google Fonts and my link to Style Sheet. But yeah, don't mess with this. Leave it there. And I know this is high-end kind of coding. This is JavaScripting. But that's what makes the rollover. Go ahead and preload the images so they don't hesitate when you mouse over. but that's what it is. And then down here in where the div ID promotion is, where remember it said div ID equals promotion and then it had closed div over here. I'm just going to reorganize this a little bit. Remember, these spaces in between the tags don't matter as much. I just want to organize it so I can see it. So there is my first rollover, that entire thing right there. And I'm going to take that closed div right here and just separate it a little bit so I can get it away from there. And what I'm going to do, and you can't really do a cut and paste, but I'm going to have 3 of these. I'm going to insert 3 images, okay, and then I'll position them later. But notice how it is. It's basically telling it what to do, and it's referring to the JavaScript that's up at the top. This is the before image, and then yeah, it's not showing me the after image. Okay. Anyway, that's the before image, and the after image is there. It'll swap it out. So let's go ahead and insert 2 more. Okay, you can rewind that if you need to. But I'm going to go back here. I'm going to make sure my cursor is set after this. So here's the A that's opening it, and then the close A. So I'm going to double space after that. So right here, I'm going to insert my second image. I'm still in the source code, okay? Going up here, I'm going to say insert HTML. Scroll down to rollover image, and I'm going to select my second one. Notice this time it says image 3. It will continue to add that to identify them differently. And I'm going to look for I've got a lot of images here, but I know where they're at. It's, I think I do. And it's Pickles 2, and this one's Here's How to Find Us. Okay. I probably have mine out of order. I think I do. But I'm going to select that first one, Pickles 2, small JPEG. They don't have to be PNGs or JPEGs, but they can be one or the other. And then Pickles 2, small PNG. I'm going to do that. Why am I getting lost? Here we go. So PNG, yeah, here's how to find us. Okay, double click that one. Now, this one is actually going to go to the about because it's going to be a map. So I'm going to say about.html. So the link will already be a link. We haven't created these pages, so just know that. All right, by the way, before I leave here, I think I told you to call it, thumbnail 1A and thumbnail 1B, and you can make them both JPEGs or PNGs. It doesn't matter. It just depends on whether you're having some kind of transparent element. But just, you can name them however, just let them make sense for you, how you name them. Okay, so I've got the first rollover and the second rollover in there. Let's do one more. Let me look at my code down here in promotion. Neat enough. Okay, I'm going to take this closed div. I kind of want to just get it out of the way. And I'm going to have my third. This is image 1 rollover, image 2 rollover, and the third one's going to be right here. Insert the cursor, going back to insert HTML, rollover image. Then I'm looking for Pickle 3. There it is. And the hover version of it. All right, and this one's going to link to my contact page, contact.html. Okay. Now, one thing I'm going to do, you probably don't have to mess with this if you did yours in order, but if you didn't, like I want my about, store, and contact in that order. So I'm going to take my about here. I'm cutting it. I'm organizing these a little bit more carefully. I just want them to line up neatly. Okay, so the about one's first. It changed the order of these images. Okay, let me zoom out for a moment. So that's what we've got. Now, if I want this to land in the middle and have the padding, that's what we're going to do next, and that's all stylization. So we're going to jump over here to the CSS, which is the toggle up here at the top, source code, CSS, and I'm going to look for that promotion area down here at the bottom. I'll zoom in for you. One thing I know I want to do is I want to add, I'm going to come after the back. I want to make the height auto. Okay. And what you'll see is my background over here just collapsed around it, okay? Everything's still line left, but it collapsed around it. That's all right. And I'm going to indent this closed bracket for a second. Okay, and I want the images to be in the center, so I'm going to say text-align center. Boom, now it's in the center. Things are looking good. Let me go back here. I think padding, I don't really have any padding in this area. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to copy this hashtag promotions because I'm going to make a sub property for this. And it's going to be promotion IMG. And like I mentioned before, this means it's going to affect, I'll go ahead and indent it I indent it, cascade it like an outline, so no, it's less important. It's a subset to the promotion style. And I'm going to say, I want the images to do what? I want to have a margin. I'm just going to say 30 pixels. I don't know yet. Yeah, see how it pushes them away neatly from one another? That's great. That's exactly what I want. All right, and I want a border, and I want a drop shadow. So border is the color first. I'm going to say black, and then you say how wide. I'm going to say 4 pixels, and I'm going to say solid. All right, I see it happening over here. I could tweak that color and make it something else I want. Fine, that's looking good. Got one more thing to add here. After this border, I want to have, whoa, zoom back down there. I want to put a shadow. And it's called box shadow. And there are 3 or 4 properties related to that. I just want the stroke of it to be 4 pixels horizontal. You can see it right here. Horizontal offset's 4 pixels. The vertical offset, the blurring spread is there's 4 of them. I think you can get by with 3. But I'm going to try this. 4 pixels space, 4 pixels space, 4 pixels, and then the color. Actually, I want to RGBA, so it's RGBA. And if you remember, it's 0, 0, RG, 0. And the A is the alpha, so I'm going to say 0.48%. I really don't know yet. And then I'm just guessing on the coloration, but let's look at that. That's pretty sweet. I don't have a problem with that at all. Okay. All right, so I'm going to indent, clean up this code here a little bit, get that bracket indented just like that. So this is only affecting images that are inside the promotion container. Because I did this, I made it promotion space and a subset. If you ever wanted all your paragraph styles to be like that, you could say promotion space P, and that would control all body copy, etc., etc. There's lots of things you can do there. All right, let's zoom back out real quick. I'm going to save. Actually, I don't want to save because I kind of want to keep that index 3 at that level. But you guys should save Command S or save all. And now notice the rollover is not really actuated right here. But if I go to File, Real-Time Preview, File, Real-Time Preview, and I'm going to select Chrome. Now, if yours doesn't work like this, what you can do is you can go to Chrome or Firefox, Safari, whatever, and then you say File, Open, and then open your file from the desktop, from your folder, and you should be able to open it. But sometimes Dreamweaver gives us fits and won't open it. Oh, it's making me save changes, so what the heck. Sure. I'm not sure what's going on there, but I'm going to say yes. Okay, so here we go. See how the rollovers are pretty sweet, right? I don't know that I really want a border around his. I might want the transparency for my yellow ochre to be a little bit different. But that's pretty long. There's a lot of information right there. I'm going to let this be good. I may add another video, may not before it's due. If I do, it'll be about the footer. But if I don't do it today, I just won't evaluate the footer as part of this first page. We'll add it later. Any questions, by all means, email me. Okay, I prefer an email versus just a Canvas communication or message, but I should be able to get either one. All right, good luck to you all.